How we doing, y'all? It's Noir Tapes back with another video. Today I'm recommending some of my favorite effects on the MPC. I think I'm only going to do three. Three seems to be the way that people love to view these things, so I'll do a list of three. These are three that I use quite commonly in pretty much all my beats I make on the MPC. Alright, so I got this little beat here. I'll just play it for you now. Yeah, so that's the beat. Just got a loop from a jazz song and a drum loop I made myself. What I'm going to do is run through the effects here, and I'll add a little video up on the corner to break down a bit of what's on the screen and stuff. So if I jump into my mix here, the first one I've got is channel strip. I think this is a really handy effect. I don't see a lot of people using it. It combines your EQs and your compression together in the one plugin. It's sort of made to emulate an actual channel strip on a mixing board. So basically, the reason I like this one a lot is because everything's there. It's all there in the one spot. In the MPC, you can only have 4 effects on a pattern, and then you can jump out and you can put them on the buses and the master, whatever. In a pattern, you only have the 4 spots, so it's good to save areas where you can. This is just my way of doing that, and it's quicker too. So if I open that up, first thing I'm going to do is turn off the gate. There's also a gate in this plugin. I don't use it, but you can use it if you want. You got a tab here for EQ and a tab here for gate/comp. First thing I'm going to do is turn off the compressor as well, and I'm just going to adjust the EQ to my liking. So all I did was add a little bit of highs, a little bit of mids, and a tiny bit of lows just to the level I wanted. And then I brought up the high pass filter that's in the corner to remove the low frequencies that aren't needed because we won't be able to hear them. Then next I come in and I turn on the compressor, jump into the gate compressor tab, and you start to adjust the compressor. If you want to know how to adjust the compressor, I haven't made a video for that, but you can easily find one on YouTube. Just search up introduction to compressors and they'll tell you all about it. But I'm just going to add some compression here. I probably will cut this, but I'll just add a little bit of compression. I just brought the attack down, brought up the release a little bit just to add it to the transients a bit, brought down the threshold, and then I always overemphasize it and then bring it back up so I like it. And I also made the output gain. I brought it down when I brought up the EQ originally. It's sort of like a gain staging thing, so when you make everything louder you got to adjust the output. So I did that with the EQ. Now with the compression it's making everything quieter, so you bring back up the output. So that's the first one. Second one I'm going to add is the air flavor. Now they released a new version of this plugin which was meant to emulate the RC20 plugin you can get on all your doors. I've done a video about that. I might link that in the corner if you're interested in that plugin. It's a good lo-fi plugin, does heaps of stuff. And they released the Air Flavor Pro, which is just like RC20. I didn't buy that, but I like using the original Air Flavor anyways. So I'll bring that up on the screen here. Under the first section, it starts off in neutral. If you push in the knob, you can look at all the different presets there. I like trying out a bunch of different ones, finding what works. One of my favorites is the boombox one. So I put the boombox on there, and I'll add a little bit of vinyl distortion, tiny bit of noise, and I'll make everything a tiny bit more mono too. And so you can hear, if you leave it at 100%, it takes out a bunch of the frequencies. It makes it sound kind of old school, like it's coming out of a boombox, right? If that's the preset you've got it on. The trick is then you go to the depth there and you take that down to your liking. So you bring back all the frequencies that are missing, but you keep that effect on some of the sound. That's sounding pretty good to me. Added a bit of vinyl noise, added a bit of distortion, and it's subtle. I've only got it at 12%, and you can hear the basses all come back, a lot of the highs have come back, but it's adding something to the beat that would be missing without it. I'll play it and I'll turn it on and off so you can hear it. Sort of adds a bit of thickness and gives the beat a bit more life to it. Alright, and the last plugin I wanted to talk about was the Lofi. I usually keep this on my master, on my MPC. I find when I'm creating beats in the MPC, sometimes they just don't have the right aesthetic. Like, I want them to sound like they're coming out of an old sampler. I do this quite often. I'll just have the Lofi plugin on my master, and if the beat's sounding close to complete, or maybe it's missing something, I can just turn it on and then adjust it and make my beat sound like it's coming out of an old sampler. And it always adds a lot of high end, which I like, a bit of air, you could call it. And yeah, I think it's one of my favorite plugins in the whole MPC. I wasn't ranking these, but I use this one all the time, the Air Lofi. The Air flavor I use quite commonly on my drums, but nowadays I make my drums in Ableton and sample them in, so I don't need to use any plugins on my drums really. But when I make drums in the MPC, I use the flavor a lot. And the channel strip I also use in my drums too. But you can also use the channel strip on your samples for sure. You can use any of these on your samples. I just want to make that clear. But I always use Air Lofi on the whole beat. So I've already got a preset in there. So if I turn this on, you'll hear it straight away. You can hear that subtle ringing that appears in the high end from the Lofi. I love that. I love the way it sounds. I love the way how it brings out my hi-hats a little bit more as well, and the upper frequencies of the sample. I think it's just perfect for blending the whole beat together. If you watch some of my other tutorials about lo-fi plugins, you'll hear me talk about the bit depth and the sample rate all the time. Those are the two numbers that are important to mimic old samplers. And then rectify adds a bit of that ring modulation that I like, and then the noise mod adds a bit of digital noise in the background. But there you go, 3 of my favorite plugins: the channel strip, the Air flavor, and the Air Lofi. 3 of the plugins I use constantly. I love using them. Probably my favorite plugins in the MPC for sure. There's some other ones I like to use a lot, but those 3 are the most common ones I use. So hope you enjoyed, hope you learned something, and I hope you experiment with all the plugins in the MPC. There's so many different plugins here that you never use and you never hear about, and experiment with them. You never know what you can find in there. Thanks for watching.